Thanks for doing this.
I am really happy to be here. This is exciting for me.
It is so great to see you in person. I've never met you before.
No, I've never met you.
We're all thrilled to meet you.
Oh, well, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
104.3. I know all of these stations, and like it's so funny.
All the iHeart stations, yeah.
Of course, and also just, yeah.
But I mean, you've been in LA for quite a long time, so you would have listened to these stations, these iHeart
That's
stations
what I'm
over
saying.
the years.
These were all my stations that I would listen to. So to be here with music, to share is really kind of exciting.
Because I guess in the past, you would have come by for a new movie, a new show, or something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
And now you're coming for music for the very first time.
Totally different.
A debut single.
And in my little girl brain, I would have thought that I would have come by for music. Right.
Oh.
So it's of course. Yeah. I mean, because I've been singing and writing forever.
So
but
that just never took off then. So for you, it's always been obviously, the acting work and stuff. But when you were a little girl, you were singing and writing and doing all that then?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love music, and I've always loved music, and I've always sang, and I always loved to write. At the time, it kind of went like, it was more like if I became, let's put it this way. The second I got out of high school, I started getting jobs as an actress.
Right.
And in the early 2000s, like you didn't like cross-pollinate. Right.
Okay.
It was like, you know what I mean? If you were lucky enough to have a career like I have had, you don't then start doing music.
Right.
Like, it's like stay in your lane kind of thing.
Stay on your side of the street.
So for me, it was always like, well, I want to figure out how I can do a musical, or I can maybe get into, but how am I going to utilize what I love in the acting world?
Yeah.
And then, honestly, the industries have changed so much that doesn't really matter anymore. People can do, I think art can have all, you can, depending on what your passions are.
Sure. So you go through everything with Glee, you do all the singing on Glee, and then you decide today, here in this late day in January, that you're going to come out with a debut single. Why now? What was it now for you?
Well, for me, it was lockdown. That was the impetus for me to be like, reflecting on my life, my career, my art, mortality, like what is your legacy in art? And for me, it was like, I will absolutely regret it if I don't put my writing out there, my songwriting. The singing part I can do, and I love
and you're
to
great.
do,
You're very
and
good.
I enjoy it. But the writing part for me was the big one. And I always said, like, I would never put music out unless I really focused on it. If it became the absolute that I put my all into it. So I took the last 2 years, and I've made a record, an album. And
so there's more coming out, not just a single today. There's actually more coming out too.
Yeah,
wow.
There's a whole
Oh my
album.
gosh.
Yeah.
Just putting yourself right out there.
I'm really, it's very vulnerable, and I'm ready to be that. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I say this a lot. I now look at girls in their 20s who write, and I think, God, I don't know if I could have handled that criticism, for my writing. I don't know if I would have been ready for it. And
what criticism are you afraid of? I mean, who's going to criticize your writing? Do they still do, is like Rolling Stone and stuff still doing things like that?
Everybody criticizes everybody who's famous. I mean, criticism is what we deal with all the time.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's part of it. You learn how your skin gets tougher and thicker as your career, and the more famous you get, the more criticism comes your way, whether it's positive, whether it's negative. But when it comes to like me curating my work, that's very different than someone else's vision, or working with a bunch of writers for, a song that doesn't work is different than something for me that is coming from what I wanted to be a very honest and authentic place. So, now that I'm old, a little bit older, I'm like, I don't even care anymore. It's just now I'm like ready to just put it out, and hope that people enjoy it.
And Linda Perry.
Yeah, we wrote together. So it was a really intimate crew of us. It was me and Linda and my partner, Danny Fujikawa. We had that so Linda basically cold called me off of hearing me sing and was like, do you want to come in the studio? And I was like, yeah, of course. She's like, maybe you can sing this song. I have this song. I was like, great. And I was in this place where I was like, just say yes all the time.
Okay.
If someone asks, say yes. And I remember, Tor from Stargate, great songwriter, asked me to like sing an acoustic version of Firework. And I was like, yes. So I just started saying yes to
whatever came your way.
Whatever people were asking me to sing. Linda then was like, went in the studio and she just said, do you write? And I said, yeah. She goes, okay, let's write. And I go, great, let's write. And so she basically said, give me your October. This was 2 years ago. And let's just see what happens. And I have so much music. I have so many songs. And I said, what do you want me to bring stuff in? Do you want me to? Nope. She's like, let's just start from
fresh,
scratch.
Right. Okay.
So Danny came in and we just sat in like a weird circle, our first like awkward first date. And and within 2 weeks we had 26 songs. We wrote so much music so fast. It was so great. It was one of the great, it just so much just came out. It was like we were just channeling for 2 weeks. And then it was really hard to kind of figure out what those songs were going to be.
So is there anything you take from acting that benefits you in music doing the acting first? Like, is there anything that kind of translates?
That's a great question. I think writing, no. It's a very different for me kind of
process and
totally. And I think everybody has a different writing process. I think the visual parts of it is different, like getting into the visual aspect and what, for me, it's really fun because, I can have a lot of fun with these music videos or kind of expressing myself visually through the songs. But I want to do it a little bit opposite because I kind of want the songs to lead. I think people have seen me in film and it'd be nice to have the music sort of be what leads how people respond to it versus the visuals. Whereas I think a lot of artists, it's important to kind of show who you are as holistically.
People have seen you is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And I look forward to writing more too. That's also for me a big thing. Like whether it's for me, whether it's for someone else, like it's just something
it's cathartic. You get stuff out there you want to say.
Yeah.
I get it.
Because I've had the time to sit with the songs. That's been one of the great things is actually sitting in rooms in different iterations of the mixes or production.
Watching reactions.
And you feel, people don't have to say anything. You just know what needs to be fixed. But it's always different when people are in the room.
Right.
Without them saying anything, you're like, oh shit, I got to take out the, the hi-hat. It's too, you can feel it.
I was nervous.
You were you were nervous for me
because I know you from all the movies and stuff, and I know you from all these great rom-coms that I've watched you on over the years and stuff, and I'm so endeared to that woman. I'd never met you, so I'm nervous too. Meeting your idols or meeting people you really are fond of, you're nervous about that reaction. I'm sure you go through that sometimes too.
Yes.
And then I'm nervous, like, all right, I wasn't the biggest Glee fan, so I didn't watch you that much on there.
Right.
No offense.
Well, I wasn't really on it that long.
Oh, so that worked out for me.
I wasn't like I was.
Okay, I blinked.
Yeah. It's okay.
All right. So I know you from all the movies and stuff, right? And pop culture. So I didn't really know how much of the voice. And I hear you sing, I'm like, oh my God, that girl can sing, number one. And then I really liked the song. So I was nervous at first, but then I got excited about it.
Right. Now you're like, okay, got it. It feels
right.
Great. Good.
Right. And you've got a voice too that kind of I don't know. I mean, there's a little Miley, there's a little Stevie Nicks in there. There's a smidge.
Oh, come on.
No, there's
Give
a
me
smidge.
more.
They're smiling over there. They're happy
You're
with
making
that.
me happy.
Make me your quote in Rolling Stone or something, right? But there is a smidge of that in your voice. That's all yours.
It's when I, you think of like, what are the songs that you like to sing as a singer?
Sure.
And you're hitting the people that, not
that
only
like
do I like to sing, but sit in the same kind of range. I love singing a Miley song. And,
do you?
And who doesn't? I mean, Stevie's our queen. And
of course.
Anyone who loves rock music.
Yeah.
And in the album, there's like some very like rock. You'll hear influences of a lot of people that that sort of I would say sort of sit in more rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do we have? We have a Netflix show coming up about the Lakers front office that you're in. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Well, it's actually Mindy Kaling is the creator, and it's It's a basketball kind of like front of house.
Right.
I play this woman, Isla Gordon, who runs the team.
Okay. And then you've
That's all I had to say.
That's it. Okay.
That's
You've got
it.
a podcast with your brother Oliver.
I have a podcast.
What's that about?
And it's everything, but it's called Sibling Revelry, and we actually started that on a whim, and then it turned into a thing. You know, it was sort of like, oh, this will be fun for us. We don't do anything together. It was sort of COVID time. And it was the best thing I've ever done with my brother. I spent so much time with him now, and we've kind of unpacked a lot of things in our relationship, and we focus on sibling dynamics. But we also just talk to people that we dig. Like, we kind of bring on people that we think are interesting. Like, Oliver was like, I need to talk to Jenna Jameson. And I was like, all right, let's bring her on, you know? And so I learned more about my brother
Than maybe you wanted
than
to.
I maybe wanted to.
Right.
He was very well-versed when it came to her.
When it came to Jenna,
Yeah, he knew all about her.
I bet.
And but so we interview all from, you know, like from, you know, Jenna to, you know, like Buddhist sort of, you know, therapists.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's great. I love it. I love our podcast. It's and what you guys do is it's interesting because it's a lot of work, you know.
Oh, this what we do?
Yeah, it's constant.
Oh, dear God, no.
Every day.
No, you've misjudged this show.
What do you mean?
No, I'm just sitting here talking to you. There's not a lot of work going on.
No, I know, but you have to show up all the time.
Oh, yes, I have to show up. That's right.
That's true. It's not like you can't be like, you know what? I think I'm going to go away for a long weekend.
Yes, that is our biggest problem. We have to actually show up.
You actually have to be here without getting like, you know, like sick days are hard.
I do have two quick rom-com questions while we have here. I'm such a fan, I don't even know if I can look you in the eye when I ask you this. Something Borrowed, one of my favorite films. Is Darcy okay? You think like present day, is she okay? Because I felt for her.
I mean, if you read Something Blue, which is the follow-up,
I didn't know.
Darcy's really okay.
Okay, good to know.
And you
I'll
should read it because Something Blue is so great.
Okay.
I wish we did Something Blue. We never got to it.
Oh.
And we talk about how to bring that back because Darcy's story is really great when in that book. And
okay.
Yeah, she's okay.
And then my other question, with so many remakes, what's one of your rom-coms that you don't want touched?
I'm not a fan of remakes. So
Oh, you're not?
No. I think it's sort of like, why touch things that I can understand comic book kind of imagining.
Sure.
I think remakes of like if someone was like, oh, we're going to remake Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I'd be like, please don't.
Why?
Please don't.
Right.
You know, it's perfect. And if someone wanted to remake, you know, Parenthood, Ron Howard's, I'd be like, oh, no, please, you know.
Right.
But I liked that they did a television version of Parenthood, you know. That would be kind of like, don't.
You're not a fan.
Just
Right.
don't,
Right.
you know.
Well, when you look back then in the world of rom-coms, and I know a lot about rom-coms, I'm a big rom-com guy. Is there one that wasn't yours that you look back and go, oh my God, that's the pinnacle of rom-coms?
Oh, yeah.
Give me a couple, just rattle them off that come to your mind.
Nora Ephron as a writer was my fave, you know, but like, you know, for me, it's Sleepless in Seattle.
Classic.
It's, I would say As Good as It Gets is one of my favorites.
Notting Hill?
The best. Notting Hill's the best. Yeah, Richard Curtis is, I love anything Richard Curtis does.
The Holiday?
Nice. I like it.
Oh.
But I wouldn't put that in my top 5.
Yeah. I always have that
You
opinion
just watched
too.
it.
And
I love it. It's a cozy
great
warm
Christmas movie?
blanket.
Would you
It's
go
a
there?
cozy warm blanket, but like it's not. It wouldn't be in my
Wow.
are there
top 5.
rom-coms today that excite you though? Because I don't know if I'm just getting older, but I feel like rom-coms don't hit the way they used to.
Probably not.
Well, I talked about this in another interview. I think it's just because of the way we're supporting the talent in the genre.
Really?
It's just, I think you need to invest in the talent, in the writing, and the directors, and you need, you know, they need to be created like an event, but they have to be well written,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and that's really not easy. I would say to make a really great rom-com is a very hard thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
But when you do it right, they become the great classics of all time, but historically. So I think that's more of it. I think what happens is someone does a romantic comedy that it becomes this sort of big hit, and then you have a lot of people who think that that's then, oh, let's make it like that, and then they don't spend as much time or money. They kind of sit it in a bracket, in sort of I would say a budget bracket that you can't really get
Capture
there.
the-
Yeah.
Right.
So you kind of have to have all the pieces right to make it.
So kind of like, I mean, I wasn't saying Holiday's top 5. I'm just saying it was pretty good.
I love Holiday.
I don't think you did.
No,
you came at me with this face, this visceral reaction.
But you're like, name your top tops.
What's
I'm
it like,
well,
top,
I
top?
wouldn't.
I'm just throwing it out there. Like, it's a
Holiday's
great movie.
fantastic. I mean, who doesn't want to be in the Cotswolds, like in that cozy
That's
cottage?
fair. That's fair.
I'm
That's fair.
so
It's a beautiful area.
in
It really is.
That's my favorite. By the way, I love that part of
Yeah,
the world. But
it's beautiful.
but and like Jude Law in the
Yes.
Cotswolds is hot.
Great.
Like, fabulous.
Great.
But if I was to say, what one of my other favorites is Jerry Maguire. So
Classic.
Jerry Maguire to me is a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
And it's got all of the movements of what a great rom-com should be.
Right. Right.
When they get into that elevator,
Yeah.
like those classic moments, that is pure rom-com, dreamy, well-written.
Right. Those
love
moments
fest.
that stand out, like you can quote the lines like, I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy asking him to love me.
Yeah.
Those moments like that stand out.
See, that gets my hair funny.
But I was also going to do the
And we
Pandora's
need
box
that,
line
and
from
that's
that movie.
I mean, I have to say, like, even my single, talking about love.
Yeah.
I think it's the thing that we don't talk about enough.
Right.
There's so much going on in the world that feels so scary, and we really need to be cultivating more love when it
Amen.
comes to art.
Yeah.
There's room for everything.
Sure.
But like we really should be talking about why it's so hard to feel
Yeah.
love, and like why that's the most complicated emotion. And I think that's why rom-coms and romantic films resonate so much and carry on. It's because it's so universal, and yet it's the most complicated. That it's so much harder to really purely love someone than it is to choose to dislike them or to be different than them or to, we're predisposed to feel fear and not trust.
Right.
Versus the opposite, which is where we should be going, which is being more open and more accepting and loving. And that's what a rom-com takes you through,
Yeah.
and that's what the song is about.
Yeah. Kate Hudson.
Oh, I've just.
This is the first time someone has made me play.
All right, I've got the ace of spades. I'm putting it down. There's
Okay.
one card.
You have one.
Clockwise, yeah.
Nobody shoots.
All right, I
Don't have
got
all
two
hands.
twos.
2 2s, okay.
Okay, I'm 2 3s.
Really? You're 2 3s.
Oh yeah,
So, like, if I had 3 3s, that'd be very suspicious, wouldn't it?
yeah.
Okay, good, Jill.
I have 1-4.
1 4.
I'm going to call bull.
Oh, you can take those cards, Kate Hudson.
No!
3 5s.
Stop.
What?
Bull.
What do you mean?
Guys, I play to win. Always.
Oh, make sure you tune in to see who wins the game at the end.